Good morning. How are we today? It's been a bit of a cloudy morning actually, but the sun looks like it's about to come out today, which is good. I was a little bit worried because yesterday I bought a paddling pool, and then I had like plans for the rest of the afternoon to sit in the paddling pool, enjoy the water. It was a warm day yesterday, so I thought, and with all this talk about a heat wave coming, wanted to be prepared for it. How are we? How are we today? If you're able to share the link that's going across this stream so that others may hear this great message of hope that's going out to you today, that would be great. If you're able to share the links, we're on Facebook and YouTube. So both of those links are going along. Now, for the people that don't have Facebook, you can send them the YouTube link, share it via your social media, share it via WhatsApp, get that word out there. It's going to be a good morning this morning as we join together, and it'll be great if you're able to also post a comment in the comments. I love reading the comments. I love speaking to you guys. It's all about interaction. It's not just about me speaking. It's about you guys also interacting as well. So please do post a comment. It'll be great to hear from you this morning. As we're waiting for a few more people to arrive, I just wanted to speak about a couple of things. So this week it's been a good week actually. So I've got a food bank story to share with you guys. And basically there's a person in Rayleigh who's lived in Rayleigh most of their life, and we found out the other day that before coming to our food bank, he'd only recently heard about us, but he hadn't actually eaten for 7 days. He'd had no food for like 7 days. And he lives in Rayleigh. And what was great was he was able to come into the food bank and take food from us. And he was able to take enough food to be able to feed himself and his family for the rest of the week. And, with our food bank, we are the only food bank in the Rochford district that will allow someone to keep coming back. So no matter what happens, if you're part of the Trussell Trust, you can only give food parcels to someone for 3 times in 6 months. Now, a food parcel is no bigger than a shopping bag. And you're now saying to that person that you have to survive on 3 shopping bags over 6 months. That's you and your family. But not us. We don't do that. We don't operate in that way. We like people coming back time and time again every week, just taking what they need. Because the thing is, I myself have been in poverty. I've experienced poverty, and I've experienced not having food in my cupboards. And I learned one thing when I started to start this food bank. I learned that once you hit poverty, it's really difficult to refill your cupboards. So basically, what we want people to do, and what we've seen on our social media, even recently, we're talking about people coming to a food bank, and there is this perception that you have to be poor enough to come to a food bank. Well, not with us. We're all about the moment you lose your income, no matter what that is. That can be your job, retirement fund, investments, whatever it is. The moment you hit your debt, no matter what that is, that could be a stack of utility bills coming in and wiped you out. We want you to please come to our food bank. Please come and pick up food. We do not ask any questions. We do not, go into any details. We just love people, and we want to continue to serve them. And we are the only food bank that is able to give food every week to the same people. We do not say to them, you can only come once in 3 months, or twice in 3 months, or 3 times in 3 months. We just say to them, see you next week, because we want to help people get through this time. It's about, if you've lost your job, we're here to support you until you find a job. And not only till you find your job, but until you have your first or second paycheck, that then you have some savings. Then we say to people, right, now you're good to go. You're good to go out on your own again. And it's about that. It's about hitting poverty and doing it properly. It's about making sure that that person will not get in poverty again. And we also know of people that are in debt. So as a food bank, we've got future plans to help people get out of debt, to become a debt center. to help people get through debt. And we're all about getting rid of poverty. It's not just about having a food bank. It's about making sure people can get out of poverty. And that's what our heart is. Now, we do have an issue through the great generosity of people. We've got a lot of food now. We've got enough food to keep going for a little while. So please, if you give food, please do continue giving. But our storehouse has become full, and we want to move our storehouse from where it is into a bigger space. And we had this priced up recently, and it's going to cost us about £10,000 to do this. But we really believe that we can get this money, and we're able to do these things. But also we do have running costs as well. We have bills to pay, and we're asking if you're able to even just give £3 each. Now, within our town, there's 50,000 people. So if you all gave £3, we'd have enough to pay our running costs and more, and also do the work that we need to do to upgrade our food system. So if you're able to donate today, the link is just below, going across the screen. That's recchurch.co.uk/donate. And that will help us to keep our running costs going, because essentially what's going to happen is we're going to have so much food but nowhere to give it out from, because we won't be able to pay our utility bills, and then we're just going to end up in a bad place. So it's all great having food, and please do, if you give food, please, continue to give. We make sure none of it goes to waste, and we make sure everything goes out. But we do have utility bills to pay, and we've got running costs to pay. So if you're able to give money, please do. Across the screen is the link to that, www.recchurch.co.uk/donate. You guys are really generous, and I actually would like to highlight somebody that's recently given to us. Her name is Chloe Scott, and she was able to give us an amount of money this morning, which to her is a small amount, but to us it's actually huge. It's amazing to receive that amount of money, it's all in the small amounts that people give that enable us to continue and to keep going. And I would like to just thank Chloe for her donation this morning, but also to the ones that have donated in the past. I'd love to thank you all, because without you all giving financially, this wouldn't be possible. And it wouldn't be possible to help the guy that I spoke about that went through starvation for 7 days until he hit our food bank, to help the family that they were previously going elsewhere to collect food and were told that they can only have one bag once every 2 months. So it's 3 bags every 6 months. Well, we were able to say to that family, come back next week. We've got you covered. Come back next week. Because we are all about making sure the person gets out of poverty and just living, above the breadline in a sort of comfortable situation until a job arrives. And that's what's important. That's what's important to us and our ethos of our church. Now, enough about the food bank. It's great, but you guys have come here for something different, which is a story of hope. So basically, this week, I'm going to speak on the theme of hitching your wagon. Morning, Deborah. Morning, Paul. How are you? Hitching your wagon in life. And so basically, we all have wagons. We all have wagons. And as I break this down, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I do have a wagon. Yeah, I do that. So anyway, in this time of lockdown, we have had time to reflect, to look upon at what we like about our lives and what we don't like. You see, we've assessed our wagons. We've looked at what we were doing before lockdown, and we've realized the things that were important to us and the things that weren't important to us. We've essentially, what we do at the food bank, we've taken stock of what we've got in our lives. And we've said to some things, we don't need this and we don't need that, and we've got rid of those things. And then we've said to others, actually, that's important to have in my life. I want to keep that and cherish that. But also we've also realized other important things that are actually more important than what we were paying attention to before. And so now we're like, whoa, this is really important to me, and I want to keep that. And I've actually gone and found 3 stories of people that have changed during lockdown. And so I'm just going to read them. Look, you can find these online. It's the Metro newspaper that reported this. So there was a guy called Lee. He's 34 and he's from Preston. And this was his change story during lockdown. My new routine has got me in a good place, and I'm going to keep it up. In the morning, I'm hydrating, then meditating for 10 minutes, listening to a positive podcast, doing 10 minutes of exercising, visualizing my day, then reading a book for 10 minutes, all before looking at my phone. The kids wake up and I make breakfast. My head is so clear after doing it. I get a real buzz, and now I walk every evening, and that really clears my mind before bed. Taylor, 20, from North London. Prior to lockdown, I would make my way to a local bar every Thursday, £1.50 drinks. It was pretty hard to resist, and attend an event almost every weekend where 90% of the time I would be drinking. Looking back now, I realized that it was a waste of my money and in some ways time. Since I have been home alone, I haven't felt the urge to pick up a drink in the same way that I would have before. There have only been 2 occasions where I have drunk alcohol. My friend left some on my doorstep, and one of the quizzes I took part in required it. But honestly, now I'd rather avoid it, as I've become a lot more comfortable in my own company. Lockdown has made me take a step back and realize what is really important to me, and alcohol isn't. And then the third and final story is this one. Binny, 37, from London. Mine has been the way I do my food shop, vegan fruit boxes and milk from a milkman. It's something I will continue with post-lockdown, as we've noticed the quality and flavor of the vegetables in particular are so good, and it really makes a difference in taste when cooking meals. Another routine I will continue with is a daily me time hour where I spend time reading. It's something I didn't make enough time before lockdown and have absolutely loved during this time. We are considering more things, stripping away more things from our lives and adding a few new things after this time of lockdown. As you can see, many are realizing about the importance of sitting down and having some me time, sitting down and pausing and stopping and reflecting, which really brings me into this week's story of hope. You see, one aspect of Christianity is change, positive changes to your life, a better way of living. You see, Christianity teaches you to live with the following: prayer, reflection, healthy eating, exercising, better finances, and better relationship. You see, in all, as an all-round person, you become more relaxed and joyful because of these great changes in your life. The difference between these people's stories earlier on and Christianity is a lot of these peoples have made these changes on willpower alone. And eventually, when life opens back up, perhaps a lot of the willpower will actually go. Old routines will come back into their life. You see, the difference is in Christianity, because you make these changes with Christ Jesus, they stay, they remain. And a great example of this is New Year's resolutions. People set these at the beginning of every year. They remain for a month or two, but essentially they die out. Yet in Christianity, your life is always changing, always getting better. You're not making these changes on willpower alone, but doing it through Christ. You see, God helps us to strip things and change things in our life. He helps us to take things out of our life and add positive things in. to make us into essentially a beautiful creation. This is because he was the one that has made us. He has plans for our lives that are better than we can imagine. He is like an artist making us into beautiful creations. You see, the Bible actually refers to God as a potter to make our lives beautiful and like potter with a clay. You see in this picture here how the clay is formed and a pot is put together. And the verse is actually this: but now, O Lord, you are our Father, we are the clay and you are the potter. You see, we are all the work of your hand. Be not so terribly angry, O Lord, and remember not iniquity forever. Behold, please look, we are all your people. You see, in life, we are born, we grow up, our parents guide us through life, and we all agree this is a good setup. Then we get to an age where we are left to our own devices and decisions. Yet as human beings, we make bad decisions. We all do. I've personally done this. I've made a lot of bad decisions through my life. Sometimes we stay with someone when we know they are not good for us. Sometimes we buy certain items we cannot afford, but we still take it out on a loan or credit card. If you're like me in my younger days, I partied way too hard and got worn out. And sometimes we treat each other for our own gain and always say it's never my fault, it's theirs, all the while destroying relationships. Sometimes we work too hard to attain the career positions we think we want, but when we actually get there, it's no good anymore. And we want more, or we feel empty. We drive ourselves into our work in the hope that it fills the empty feelings inside of us. We commit ourselves to our family and we fly the flag that they go first no matter what. Yet essentially it's because we are just not wanting to feel alone. You see, these are all things that we hitch our wagon to. We think by hitching our wagon to these things, we are going in the right direction. We are being clay. We are essentially clay. And we are staying on the board. But essentially, we're not listening to the potter. We're trying to do it all ourselves. And what happens with clay that doesn't mold? It ends up on the floor or in the bin. So when clay doesn't mold, the potter discards it. He or she gets rid of it. It doesn't work. And they want the things inside to make the end creation that they want. And so if you're perhaps not listening to good advice or the word of God, you're being clay that is just being rebellious to the potter. You see, Paul actually tells this to the Romans later on in chapter 9. I spoke about Romans last week, and this is another part of the letter. And it says, has the potter no right over the clay to make out of the same lump one vessel for honorable use and another for dishonorable use? You see, the secret here is that we are not the potter, we are the clay. And this world was made by the potter. We are simply what the environmentalists call borrowing the earth. The potter owns the earth and essentially owns the clay. Eventually in this life, we go in our own direction. We think we know best. We think we have the answer to life's questions. We think we have solved it all. Yet there are times when we are left alone with our thoughts, and essentially that makes us feel empty inside. Eventually, it all comes down to an abrupt halt. You see, I've actually put together some life examples of this through people of different stages in our life. And perhaps maybe you fit into one of these descriptions. Perhaps maybe your kids have left home and your whole purpose has gone and you're sitting with your thoughts. Maybe you just have had a child and spent the last 4 years with them, and now they've gone to school. You now find yourself either wanting more children or trying to figure out how to fill the time. And now you're sitting with your thoughts. Maybe you have just left home. You might be young, or you might recently be divorced and have had to move out of your family home. And you're feeling quite alone and empty inside, sitting with your thoughts. Perhaps you have chased that career ladder, and now you're either at the top of the ladder or you're coming to the retiring age and thinking, now what? Whilst sitting with your thoughts. You see, when we sit with our thoughts, it makes us realize and ask the question, what have I hitched my wagon to here? That's why this lockdown has had a profound effect on people and has caused them to start making changes. They have been sat with their thoughts. Yet the potter says, that's not what I have planned for you. This is what Paul means in his letter to the Romans. He is saying, essentially, hitch your wagon to Jesus. Have faith through Jesus. Then you're going to go in the right direction. Here is a modern day story of this, and I found this online, and I found it a really encouraging story. Now, Joe Causeway from a Northern Ireland church reports this. At the end of the promenade, another young guy was sitting with his bike. He was taking a breather from home because things were tense with his family. He eagerly shared lots of prayer requests and ended up asking me how I could be free from bad choices. He explained that he wanted a higher power that could help him. I shared the gospel and explained how much Jesus loved him. And he said, how do I talk to him? How do I let him in? As he prayed a yes to Jesus and asked the Spirit to fill him, he physically felt electricity and peace. It was amazing to hear him become excited about connecting with God as a father. You see, maybe this is you. Maybe this is you, but in a different situation. Maybe you know of a higher power, but you've always wondered how you can access it. Maybe you've been sitting with your thoughts all the way through lockdown. Or maybe you've been present with your family, but felt this niggling feeling in the back of your mind. Maybe you struggle with the Christian message because it gives up your life to Jesus and you don't want to give control of your life to someone else. Maybe that's a struggle. And I get that. We live in a generation where people want to be in control. People want to be in control of their lives. People want to be in control of the clay. People want to be in control of the potter and not be the clay. You see, Mother Teresa said it best. She was the one that said, for God is the story writer and I am the pen. Now, if you ever looked at her life and what she achieved, would you then ask the question, well, if she had all the control, she would have achieved more? I don't think you would. There were places that she was put that she even said, I don't know how I would have got here myself. There are people that God matched her up with that she said, I don't know how I'd have made these connections if I did it all by myself. You see, when we give up the thing that we're actually not meant to have control of, our lives will get better. It's actually scientifically proven how prayer and reflection with a higher being, God, actually reduces stress. Scientists have seen better results with Christians and prayer than people meditating on their rugs, because we are essentially handing our troubles to Jesus. Jesus said this. He said, give me your troubles and I will take them. The Bible actually uses the word burden. Give me your burdens and I will take them. So we are not meant to walk around with these wagons. We're not meant to walk around with these weights. And I really feel, and I've been praying all week about this message, but I really feel there is someone listening today where you've got wagons full of stuff. You've got bricks that you're essentially holding. And I really feel like this week there's been an niggling feeling in the back of your mind, like a voice saying, give those up, give it up. I really feel that. You've got stresses and strains that are coming into your life, and you've felt that you should give it up. But you've come here and listened this morning, and perhaps maybe this is the way forward. You see, God wants to change this for all of you, to change these choices and make a new life for you, like this gentleman in lockdown. When your faith is coupled with Jesus, you have hope, freedom, justice, right standing, and life's debts cleared. You see, I've spoken about how the Bible describes sin and a modern interpretation of it, right? And when we mention the word sin, it's not really understood these days. Now, let me give you a quick analogy of how sin works. So if you have a credit card, you have a maximum amount that you can spend on the credit card. Well, in life, we're all given a credit card. It's called the credit card of life. And we all have a maximum amount that we can spend on it. Essentially, what happens, though, is we never visit the bank to pay off the credit card. We go through life and we're constantly tapping the credit card, buying things, going into new relationships, trying to take out, other things, essentially going for bigger items to think that we can have happiness in them, to chase beauty, to chase fitness, to chase mindfulness. These are all things that we're piling on this credit card that we've maxed now out. I did this once. I maxed out my life's credit card. And then the way you clear the credit card is through Jesus. You simply get your life's credit card and you say, can you take this? Can I give you these burdens? And in exchange, he says, yes, but you need to follow me. You need to actually give up the credit card and I will take it. That's how this works. It's no more simple than that. And maybe you've overspent on life's credit card and it's making you feel empty, or you feel like relationships with people are tense and not right. And as we all know, today is Father's Day. Maybe you lost your earthly father and have felt alone since. Maybe your earthly father walked out on you when you were children. Maybe you never saw your dad growing up. Well, today I want to tell you that there is a heavenly Father that wants a relationship with you. Again, the secret is he is the potter and we are the clay. And he wants to change our lives for the better, to mold our lives into what he wants. Don't think you're too old for this message, because God used Abraham when he was 90 years old. He also used Sarah and got her to give birth at 101. And also, don't write yourself off as too young for this message, because God used Timothy when he was around 14 years old. And Timothy built a massive church. The point is, this message today is for everyone, no matter who you are, because none of you are unqualified for the gospel. None of you are not good enough for the gospel. None of you are not chosen for the gospel. We are all good enough. We are all chosen and we are all qualified. God the Father wants a relationship with you through Jesus Christ. He wants you to get your life's wagon and hitch it to him. He wants to clear all your life's debts from the life credit card. He wants you to have the best life you can under his care. So do you not want that for yourself today? Do you not want those things I mentioned that Christianity gives you at the beginning of this story of hope? It gives you joy. It gives you peace. It gives you better finances. It gives you healthier diets. It gives you better relationships. And surely you want all those things for your life. Well, how about accepting Jesus? How about putting your wagon to Jesus? How about having faith through Jesus? And if you would like to know more about that, please message me. And my email is this, and I'm going to put it in the comments. And if you'd like to know more, message me, send me an email, or join our Zoom 4 p.m. meeting on a Sunday. Or maybe you should join our Facebook group. It's called Coffee with Pastor Jason. The link's going across the bottom of the screen. Maybe those are all good things that you could do to help improve your life. Make decent and better changes for your life. Have a purpose again in your life. And it's all attainable. And it's all free to have. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity of listening today. For the purpose of listening today. And thank you for listening to me. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today. And if you'd like to post in the comments, that would be great. If you'd like to send me an email, that would be great too. If you'd like to post in the comments, that would be great. If this message helped you this morning. Thanks, Deborah. Thanks a lot. Oh, I need to put the Zoom ID in here as well. For anybody that wishes to join us this afternoon. That's our Zoom ID. If you want to join us at 4 o'clock today, please do come along. And that would be great. If you're busy, that's fine. But today is Father's Day. We all understand that. You might want to see your dad at a social distance, or maybe can't see your dad. So come along. It'll be great to have you. Yeah, it's going to be a good day. And I'm sure that hopefully this message inspired you today and helped you. Yeah. Well, I'm going to head off now. It was lovely to speak to you all, and thanks for listening.